Whoa. Hello, friends. Chimichukma, how you doing? The program is Red Hoop Talk. It is I, Jennifer Robin, a.k.a. Mischief, and we are on standby for Johnny Moses. Now, I have known Johnny Moses for over a decade, and if you could have a person as a spirit animal, Johnny would be my spirit animal person. He is hilarious. He is heartfelt. He knows his language. He knows his culture, and he carries stories. So I expect today for us to cry from laughing and cry from these beautiful healing stories and tear up a little bit for some of his songs. Now, I don't have it in front of me because, of course, I had a month to prepare. So why be ready when I'm supposed to be ready? He gave me a CD 10 days ago, and it was Johnny Moses, Bedtime Stories for Adults. Now, I've had him on my program a million times over the year on Resilience Radio there on KVMR, and every time it's something new. And every time I learn more about him. He went to boarding school. So he's got boarding school stories, and I like to pick on him that he's a boarding school dropout. You know, they didn't get this guy, they didn't get this one. But I love him so much. So we're gonna wait for him. He had a doctor appointment today, and you know how doctors are. They make everybody late. So I'm going to tell y'all a little something, a few somethings. I have had one heck of a month. Yes, since last time I was on, I got sick for like 3 weeks. I did a 2-minute pitch for Powwow Pitch that I found out yesterday that I lost. After an 8-hour me hosting Indigenous Peoples Day broadcast on KVMR, my car died dead. Catalytic converter, something like just died dead. So I got to go car shopping, used car shopping. I don't want to confuse people and let you think I have my stuff together and I have money. I don't. So that was a actually pleasant experience. You know, I like to think I'm a tough cookie, strong, independent woman. And I show up to the dealership and there's 5 men outside. And my dad was a used car salesman. So I'm ready to fight. You know, I show up, I cock it up, I peacock. I'm ready to fight because I'm not going to get bullied by anyone. And I just sat down. I said, look, I got this much money. I want this car. If you can't do it for this, like, I got 7 more places to go. So a few no's and a little tug of war. I got the used car that I wanted at the price that I had. And I literally, I told them, you guys, I'm not here playing games. I legitimately have $30 more in my bank account than this asking price. So since I was able to do cash, but you never know. It's hard not to trust or mistrust. So I vote, I don't know, I'm just so proud. Like, I lost the powwow pitch contest, but I won the contest of not being bullied by a bunch of strangers over money. And I don't know, if they were just a nice dealership or if I'm just so good at being tough. I don't know. Could have been all of it. So let's do a few promos real quick while I reach out to Miss Kathy Sundown, who is, I'm going to say, Johnny Moses's manager, but sometimes I say handler because I think that he's a little bit more than just being managed. All right. So I'm going to check my phone. Let's do some promos.
Everything back. Everything back. Everything back. Everything back. Everything back. Everything back.
I'm cracking up. So I should literally replay that promo and tell you guys everything that happened in the video. So, God, I wish Cece and Shannon were here to explain the there's like a conference, you guys. There's stuff going on. We all have this stuff going on. Ooh, I'm gonna play. We got Red Hoop Dot t-shirts and stickers.
Support Native voices and look great doing it. Get your hands on the limited edition Red Hoop Talk podcast shirt designed by a Native artist. It also features our hashtag #EverythingBack campaign on the back, demanding the return of culture, lands, and sovereignty. Every purchase helps keep Native stories alive. Visit indian-affairs.org to get yours today. Wear it, share it, support it.
Wear it, share it, support it. So, a little bit about me. I texted Kathy. I don't know. I never know what's going to happen. That's why it's fun to be live. So, okay. I dabble in film making. It started at Standing Rock when I went on assignment to do a radio 1-hour piece. I call it an audiomentary. And while I was there, I can't explain the beauty that I saw. So in Standing Rock, I was like, I need to bring film to the table, right? I need to do this to really capture what's going on, because doing interviews and me describing beauty, it doesn't hit right. And I don't know all the adjectives to describe the incredible connections that we had there at Standing Rock. So when I went back the second time, I met my camera guy, and lo and behold, we've been doing little shorts and things. So I am, Shannon is here. So I am going to be walking the red carpet with my short film Endangered Language at the LA Skins Fest, November 19th through 24th. So I'm super weirdly freaked out, excited about that. And I'll be doing a program from Hollywood. So I'm trying to rustle up whatever locals I have. And we're probably going to be going live in a Motel 6 and not the good part of Hollywood, because still on a budget. So Shannon, I would like to bring you on for a moment to talk about the Reparation Conference. Do you mind?
What the hell are you doing, Jennifer? What are you doing with
What
my
I want.
show?
I do what I want. We got 2 minutes before. I mean, I feel like Johnny Moses is my boyfriend from Canada that nobody ever meets or talks to. Like, he exists. I promise that he exists, you guys. But Shannon, tell me about this conference clip we just played.
And what did you call that conference? What did you call it?
It says Reparation Conference Video.
All right, Miss little touch of dyslexia there. So it's our 10th annual Repatriation Conference.
I see it, and I do have a touch of it. Thank you.
And it's our 10th annual, and the big thing that's going to happen at our 10th annual conference this year in February, at Tunica Biloxi's Paragon Resort and Casino in Marksville, Louisiana, is we're going to be doing some freaking comprehensive, intensive workshops and training on the new NAGPRA regulations. So repatriation is all about returning ancestors and cultural items back to their native nations and lineal descendants. And so lots of tribes, lots of museums and other institutions are going to participate. And there'll be folks internationally. We've got Abigail Echohawk's going to be one of our keynote speakers. And we'll have a lot of fun too. So I hope folks can check it out on our website. So that's all. I just was going to pop in. I heard you say my name. I'm like, oh, I'm going to surprise her.
Well, and because we have a few minutes, there's Old West merchandise that sold a lot here on the West Coast. And I swear this guy was selling a basket, and I'm telling you, it looked like there was dried blood stains. So most of these artifacts were stolen at some point, right? These weren't, I'm selling it to a museum or I made it for a museum. A majority of these.
Yeah. We're not talking about arrowheads. We're not talking about items that were made for tourism. We're talking about cultural items, sacred objects, burial belongings, and even human bodies and parts of our bodies that have been stolen from the ground, stolen from our homes and our communities, that still happens today. So this theft and illegal trafficking is still happening today. So this is historical and kind of continuing. And a lot of work that the association does is to develop law and policy that will support the return and protection of our cultural heritage. I mean, it's no different than protecting like the Catholic religion and their access to their churches and access to all of the things that they need to celebrate their religion. It's the same type of items for us as well.
But when we're looked at a defeated or disappearing, if we don't exist today, then it's okay for them to take things because there's nobody for it to belong to. Right? So that your guys'
one way of looking at it, yeah.
Your guys' presence in a unified front is saying we are still here tied to these things. So that, I don't know, the body part thing kind of creeps me out.
Well, yeah, it does. And man, we've worked, unfortunately, with archaeologists who, have native bodies in their homes, who have in their work, dressed them up and taken pictures. It's just extremely horrid what archaeologists have done with our bodies and with our cultural heritage, and to see them in boxes in basements. Harvard still has more than 6,000 ancestors in their basement. So this isn't just happening on the kind of fringes of society. This is, legitimate academia and research that are still trying to use our bodies for research and our cultural heritage for their art enthusiasm.
It feels violating.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. And I think for anyone else, right? For, like I said, like Catholic religion or other cultures in American society, no one would let this happen to anyone else. But it's just been a consistent stereotyping of Native people as we're not here, we don't exist, so we can take their things and do whatever we want with them. Right? And turn them into pieces of art that we can sell on the market for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So yeah, a lot of, check out our website. We have a lot of information about our work in repatriation online.
And so before I get to our guest, hi Johnny, I see you there waiting. I noticed that this is also like an international issue. Like there's other countries that have our artifacts and they have no intention. So are you trying to tackle America and then tackle international trade of our stuff? Or, how hard are you going on this, Shannon?
Oh, we're going all the way. We're working internationally, domestically, all the ways. Maybe, I don't know if aliens have our things, or maybe they're the ones who gave them to us to begin with, right?
They can't Indian give it.
Yeah, exactly. No, we're doing this internationally as well, and are working pretty aggressively in that area too. Yeah.
Well, that is amazing, and thanks for clarifying it for us. So, if you don't mind, Miss Shannon, I'm going to play with my friend Johnny K.
Yes, please do, because I want to get off. I don't even have any makeup on or anything, so nobody judge me.
You look gorgeous from here.
All right. Love you, Jen.
All right, honey. Have a great day.
Bye.
Okay. I don't know what buttons to press anymore. Okay. So I would like to welcome officially to the program, Johnny Moses. I love you so much. Do you have a middle name for me to yell at you with?
I have Anthony.
Jonathan Anthony Moses. Where have you been? Have you been running around with that lady I always see you with?
Yeah. Well, you know what happens when you go with the sundown. You have to go somewhere.
So I would like, with great pride and honor, to introduce you to our new audience on Red Hoop Talk. Johnny Moses, who is you? What are you?
What am I? Well, one of the nice things, I'm from the Tulalip tribe on my father's side, which is in the state of Washington near Seattle, and we're many tribes that live there on that reservation. Duwamish is part of them. Duwamish, Snohomish, Snoqualmie. And then my mother's people are from Vancouver Island, British Columbia, in Canada. And we're Nuu-chah and Saanich people. So a lot of people know us as the Coast Salish people up there. And then the other side, the West Coast, is the Nuu-chah, Nuu-chah-nulth people.
Johnny, you embody the whole region.
Yep. I'm one of those people like they call a mutt. I'm an Indian mutt. I'm so many tribes.
Well, what I see it as, your family is obviously a sensual people that didn't understand borders.
Yes, and we made sure we didn't marry our own relatives like they do these days.
And thank you for that. Now, Johnny, I just spent hours in the studio with you on Monday for Indigenous Peoples Day.
That was Indigenous.
And Day. Kathy Sundown handed me a CD that I didn't know existed. And it was Johnny Moses, Bedtime Stories for Adults.
Oh, yes, my favorite.
So why is it your favorite? And we're not bound by FCC today. So
good.
So I am so curious.
Before.
Well, there's times on air that I've looked at you sternly. I think I had to use the stop button.
Yeah.
With you a few times.
Well, I know that sign language.
So this time we don't have to live in fear of the government. So what I love about you is, to me, you shatter stereotypes. You are a wise, cultural bearing storyteller. You know songs, you are all these beautiful things. And then the other side of you is just a 12-year-old that wants to talk about farts and giggle the whole time.
And that's the truth. And it's from the Indian Dr. Ruth.
No, I calls them
Dr. Jennifer.
I calls them like I sees them. You are a 12-year-old child stuck in a man's body, which is great for us, but probably not easy for your manager, Kathy. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, she takes care of a lot of seniors, so she has a lot of practice.
No, I think you're a special kind of senior that needs a extra practice. Now, I want to go back, doodle-a-doo, and talk about, you went to boarding school as a child. And you told me some sad things, because I always learn more about you when we're not laughing like children. So I would like you to enlighten our new listeners on your boarding school experience. And then, because the holidays are coming, I would like you to talk about some Christmas songs.
Oh, goody. Okay. Well, I was the last generation in our family to go to the residential boarding school. In the United States, they call it, I guess, just boarding school. But in Canada, when you turn the age of 5 years old, the government legally could take you away from your family to go to boarding school. But my grandparents, I was raised by my grandparents and they hid me from the government agents and missionaries until I was about 8 years old, and I finally got to go to. They said the agents told my grandparents if he doesn't go to school, we'll take him anyway, and then be adopted out. Because in them days, they used to adopt the children out sometimes if the parents did not agree to the government. And so I got to go to experience the boarding school. But the wonderful thing, I actually had some good experiences in the boarding school. There was a Catholic nun. Her name was, we called her Mary, Sister Mary. And she lived among our native people for 35 years. So she became a Nuu-chah, our native. She was adopted into our family. She could speak our language, and she was from England. And when she would speak our language, when I was a child, I just thought her dialect was a different Nuu-chah dialect. I never thought of it. It was English dialect, but it sounded so funny when she would say, like in our language, she would say, it would sound like this when she'd speak in her English accent. And so I always thought, oh, that must be an amazing tribe she comes from. I love their accent. But she was at that boarding school. That's where they had transferred her from our tribe because she lived among our people for 35 years. But she was told by the church because she was getting too close to our people. And that's what they used to do, transfer them. And little did I know, here she was, one of the school teachers at that boarding school. And she kind of protected me because she spoke our language. So, and she warned me, what to say and what not to say. But did I listen? No.
Well, it sounded like she legitimately cared about
She
you.
did. Oh, she did. She was like one of us, and she knew the native ways and all the young. And she tried to tell the other nuns that a lot of them wouldn't listen to them. So, but we knew we were safe with her.
And then they just took her away from you. So that hurts my feelings. Now,
Mhm.
you told me a long time ago, and I don't know. So you don't have R's, right? So you
Yeah.
called Mary Mally.
Mally. Yeah, Mally.
I love it. Now, was she the one that had your Christmas songs, some of them removed?
Well, when we would sing, she knew that I thought it was some, because when they'd sing those songs, especially the fa la 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 la, and right away when Sister Mary, she was right there, because it was hilarious. She was one of the choir teachers, so she right away when she looked at all of us Nuu-chah children, we were all just trying not to. One word that we hear that we understand in the Catholic school is fa la 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 la.
What did that mean, Johnny?
It has to really, it's a sexual, like when you really, really feel it and the feel is really good. Fa la 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 la.
And now, wasn't there a bo rumpa bum
Yeah,
bum?
and the rumpa pum bum. We thought well, as kids, as we laughed, we thought it had to do maybe they were trying to think of the drum.
The sacred rhythm.
Yeah, the sacred rhythm.
Yes.
And the Catholics are into rhythm.
Oh Lord, help us, Johnny. No, but what did barumpa bum mean? Like more?
Yes, give me more. Ba-rum, ba-bum, bum, bum. Like a in our language, we have like you hear these sounds of sexual sounds. We have a in our language, bump 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 means like erotic,
Oh God. So that was removed. We got two
Yeah.
songs removed from the choir Christmas concert. And then I think you told me about another one that I didn't know about.
Well, there was the Shell, and back in the 1950s, they used to have a lot of people singing every shalala, or they shalala, or
Yes.
shala.
La, la, la. Yeah.
Well, shala in our language means penis, and so so when we would hear that song, when it was a woman singing that song, I can't remember which one it was in the. She would say, "Every sha la 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 la, every."
Oh,
I think a lot of people would know who that singer was, but I won't say the name because I don't want to get sued, unless it's
so
by the Lakota people.
I now know some Tulalip words, but they're
Yeah.
all dirty. It's like the people that work in kitchens and the only Spanish they speak are curse words. That's literally all I've ever gotten from you. So please, you cannot invite me to dinner at your family's house because I will ruin it. Unless that's why you invite me.
Well, the food is always luscious and
So, and there's a word I don't want to hear ever again.
yeah.
Luscious. Thank you for, and I think you said moist before. You ruined
Moist.
that word for me. So I'm just scratching things off my lexicon of words Johnny ruined.
In the Northwest Coast, that's where that word really came from. Is moist. It's from the Northwest Coast. It's supposed to be moist up there.
I feel like there should be a disclaimer, but I'm just gonna roll with it. Now, Johnny, I'm going to get to your sweet, heartfelt, beautiful side. Or should we start with your beautiful side and then freak out the squares?
I'm pretty open-minded.
Well, okay. I think for the sake of conversation, and let's reel them in with
Okay.
your loving, wise, gentle stoicness. Let's talk about why did you graduate from boarding school, or did you leave before that?
Well, I became ill with cancer in my body at that age after being there for 2 years. And I became ill. I think it was because I grew up in native foods. And I'm not talking about McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken, which
Sonic.
I really, really love now. But I grew up on all native, like salmon, elk, all that native
Good
stuff.
protein.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And the native roots, the vegetables, wild carrots, wild sprouts. The forest has all the native vegetables there. And of course, the nuts.
Bump.
So, anyway, so I had a really clean diet. In the boarding school, I got sick. And when they discovered I had the cancer, they were sending me home to die. They says, "Oh, he's going to die," and so that's when I got to leave boarding school. And so after that, because during that time we were still wards of the government, and they're in British Columbia, Canada, and so my when they gave up on me at the boarding school, my grandparents had the permission. They took over because they had already, government already pronounced me pretty much dead.
Wow.
And they took over and they healed. I got healed. I just returned back to the native foods and the songs and the prayers. It was all natural. and that revived me, brought me back to life.
They sent you home to die.
Yes, the government. And that's what they would do to children that were going to be dying, and they didn't want to have no responsibility. And there are many young people that died at the boarding school
That didn't get home.
that didn't make it home. A lot of them would try to run away.
That was my gram.
Mhm,
She bailed, never looked back,
mhm.
never told us why.
Yeah, it's something that in the native culture, a lot of people don't realize. Well, among our tribe, our elders would say, "That's the past now. Get it over with. Don't talk about it to us. That just let it go. Free yourself." But then also they would say sometimes you have to share with people who are not part of our culture, who didn't know, that don't even believe that happened. And which I kind of think is really interesting that like there's even studies like with Nazi Germany. They studied the Native American, how the United States government is approached uh, to people, how to tame the native people and put them on reservations, which were like concentration camps, which they
Take
did.
their food.
Yep, and starve them and to submission, all those things. And so the same thing, it's amazing how history will repeat itself. And so among our native people, we are still going through the same thing. They talk about all these other people getting freedom. Our people are still fighting for our freedom here. We have people that I know that are suffering, like the Israelites or the Palestinians, or there's all these, people right here in our own country where we were really treated as the invisible people. And like I used to think that later on when I, on my father's side, came to school here and where they I pledge allegiance to the flag and that indivisible. I thought the invisible meant, oh, they're talking about our invisible people.
We made it. We made it into the pledge.
My bad English, but how true it really was when I finally learned it was not the same meaning.
Well, you mentioned, that elders saying, let it go, but I am stuck. You're my therapist now. I am stuck in how do we forgive and move on when, like you said, the same stuff is still happening.
Oh,
And what happened to us was the model
just
for
kind of
Hitler and Nazi Germany. So how am I supposed to
happy.
let it go if it's still happening? So yeah, what's up with Kathy? Kathy, you're part of this now. I feel like you're calling your mom.
Yeah, could somebody help me?
I'm
Yeah.
thirsty. But yes, so I don't know. I still have distrust of the government. I don't feel like I'm represented in anything. I just
Oh, yeah, it's
I
not.
still feel very invisible.
Yes, it's still that, or the system, it was not made for our people. It, even the court system, the whole thing. Um, and it's our people have really had to change or to learn how to think the way we have been treated. And my grandparents used to say, "There's way we think of education is a lot different than the." I always say the Caucasoid Mania Society thinks of our education, how we should be educated, or why should we have to assimilate?
Bingo.
Yeah, yes.
Well, and there was no exchange. I feel like colonization was going to happen. These big boats exist. People could show up, but there was like
It's
really
always
no
conquer and divide.
intention. Yeah, to like exchange ideas or philosophies or concepts, or I mean, it just now you being a Pacific Northwestern, it feels like by the time the West was won, there was really no intention to do reservation systems. The government really was like, we're a bother at that point. Why waste the money? So was it like that up in the Pacific Northwest? Like we
Well,
had paid militias wiping out California natives.
yeah. Well, the English were kind of the British were the first colonizers in that area. So money was important. So of course they wanted us to be removed. And a lot of our tribes were fortunate to stay in few acres that they were allowed to stay in their area compared to thousands of acres. And so even people who stayed in their area, it was only like a few hundred acres compared to thousands and thousands of acres.
Wow.
So, but even though in the state of Washington, we do have many native tribes there, and still the assimilation program and the Dawes Act and all the other wonderful government programs they used. Our native people are familiar with government programs.
Should
We've
it
spent our whole life trying to survive them.
But it's also too like for us to be taken seriously in that outside world, we have to show how assimilated we are first, and then we can show how cultural we are. But we have to like show them that we're like them first before they listen to.
Yes, it's just really amazing to think of that because you always hear because heard of a lot of Native people making fun of other Native people that you're red on the outside but you're white on the inside, like an apple Indian or whatever. But I think there's many different kinds of fruits.
You would know.
You can peel. When you start to peel them, they have everyone has a different color inside.
Yeah, and I would trust your observation on that. So
because they have peelings.
because you have peelings and feelings. No, so yeah, because like being Choctaw and Cherokee, we had Trail of Tears where we were displaced. So it sounds like a lot of those tribes, they weren't necessarily picked up and moved. They're just land based.
The government was put a lot of in our area. They put a lot of tribes that couldn't stand each other.
Oh gosh!
And it was another idea of the Indians will kill each other off because the ones who can't.
But instead, they started making mixed babies like you.
Yeah, and that was the trouble right there.
So, oops. Hey, it's chilly up there. A gal's got to stay warm somehow.
Yep, that's well. Yep,
I don't know how we got this sidetracked. So, I'm really. You get. I don't even have ADD. I got a little dyslexia, but we're gonna get back to okay. So, you talked about you had cancer as a kid. I had cancer at 10 years old on my kidney, but they had to remove the kidney. So, what did you have? And did you have to have like surgery and stuff, or was all of your things handled in house?
Well, I always tell people, some of it was, the cancer kind of became dead, So I always tell people I have half a lung, half a stomach, and that's why I'm truly a half breed. But it's really a true thing. If part of those organs died, with the cancer. And but it was the native medicine that saved me from the natural native medicine.
But you also mentioned songs and
The songs.
And so are some of those songs specific for healing, Or
Yes.
I know that before you start your stories, there's song too. So
Yeah.
you just kind of open and close with the song.
Singing, yes. Like for example, I would just sing a song like this. Hi. Oh, and that's a prayer song. We believe in our language. Always sing a song, open and close that way. Because our belief is when you're born in this world, we all sing the same song. We all cry. And when we leave this world, our relatives sing the same song. And sometimes tears of sorrow, and sometimes tears of joy, depending on the relative, on their cry. So, the elders always say that that's a circle. A teardrop is a circle. A teardrop is a living circle. And when it touches something, it breaks, it leaves. And so that's always when raindrops are falling on your head. I always think of that. It's look at all those souls or people that are remembering us, that have cried, or sometimes they say our people believe, even our ancestors, when it rains a lot up there, they're touching our soul that's on the top of our head. And letting us know you're not alone. We love you so much. We have not forgotten you. And so that's the way I look at the rain when our native people, and it rains a lot up there. So our relatives, we're so tired. Oh my God, they're still missing us still.
Get over me.
Can we have a break? So
You loving me. I get
I
it.
should be more thankful, but I'm not.
I'm
I'm
we're
not always
picking.
depending.
I know the ancestors love to laugh. Now, you mentioned crying and tears.
Mhm.
Y'all have a lot of words that have to do with crying or how you're crying or crying
Yes.
when you're laughing or I
Mhm.
don't. So, talk to me about your crying words.
Well, there's even in our language, native language, we have many, many words for different kinds of tears. So, in our native language, they describe action or how a person looks when they're, like, for example, if a person, when they just hear of someone who just died, they have certain kind of tears or certain kind of look in their eyes. And we have a word for that, a certain kind of, that's a cry. And then there's a silent cry also. People cry so deeply that nobody can feel it, but all the elders and the children could feel it, which I think is interesting because the adults don't feel it. So there's different things like that in our native language. Our language is a very complex language. So I always just laugh when I used to watch those shows. I used to like to watch cowboy Indian shows and because I used to think, gee, how come our tribe doesn't talk like that when they have the you speak English and and my grandfather would say, well, the word is not a very important word in our language.
You
So we don't like to hear
I can see little Johnny trying to be a cowboy when he grows up.
Yeah.
I'll get you a belt buckle, baby. Don't worry.
I've always wanted one.
I got you. Um, we'll put you on. We'll put you on like a little mini horse and let you live out. Let you live out your dream. We got this. Now, because again, we've talked so much, like we're just repeating conversations, but I think about you all the time, not in a creepy way,
Oh, good.
but our interactions deeply impact me. Not enough to drive and sit in your bushes, but enough, when I'm planning the grocery list or thinking about chores, I get a little Johnny Moses in the back of my head and I giggle. But when you were talking about coming in and out of consciousness as a child while you were sick, and
yes.
hearing a Cedar story and hearing these songs as you came in and out. So I believe in our plants, in our medicines, in our foods. I believe in our prayers. And it was just interesting because every time I talk to you, I learn more, just like your stories. You hear them throughout your life and it learns more and it clicks.
Mm-hmm.
But I never thought of like repeating a story as medicinal, right? Like stories were lessons or entertainment, whereas songs or prayers or medicines are the medicine, the healing. You see what I'm getting at?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So why or how is that Cedar story so medicinal? And would you mind sharing with us your Cedar story?
Oh, yes, definitely. And it saved my life. And it's actually one of the stories that when I finally learned the story, actually, I was healed of cancer. So it's pretty much true story. Because in the stories, our people always say it's happening right now. Feelings, you feel those feelings. It's happening. It's living. Our language is not just a noun. It's if some people can describe our language as a verb or action word, moving all the time. So in this story, the grandmother's cedar tree, I'll tell it in the Nuu-chah-nulth or Nootka language, my mother's language, from Vancouver Island. And they say keklel. So if you're listening out there in the wonderful red hood talk, you may say keklel. Can you say keklel?
Keklel.
Yep, that means we are listening. Yeah, you got the you know our language. You say the keklel, the clicking. Yeah. Kela namachut kutana. Long ago, there lived a very tall cedar tree, and we called her grandmother Cedar Tree. She lived tall and strong, but sometimes she felt sad and lonely.
Keklel. Keklel.
And the Great Spirit, Si.Si.Wiss, could feel her sorrow and loneliness and called the birds of all the directions to come and carry a baby seed and plant it right next to Grandma.
Keklel.
Her tears of sorrow and loneliness became tears of joy. Oh my, she's got a child. Plant it next to her, and that tears, when it touched the seeds, it came to life.
Keklel.
She decided to live some more. Well, the deer and other animals loved to chew on the branches, but Sitla, grandmother, would move her arms back and forth and scare the deer and other animals away.
Keklel.
Grandson, Si.Si.Wiss, he felt so good. He started to grow. And this is sign language for growing. Are you growing out there? It says growing. Oh, but sometimes the north wind was strong, could cause a thin tree, and he was very thin because he was just a little boy, could cause it to bend and break. So she put her arms around her grandson. You can do that too. Put your arms around someone you love, and she'd protect them. And he would grow some more. Oh, he felt strong. Sometimes the heat and sunlight was unbearable. Could cause your skin to burn. Grandma would put her arms over her grandson and give him shade. You'd feel the cool, we call in our language, like a shade is like the cool darkness of your mind to calm somebody. You feel so good. You go some more. Many, many seasons passed. Now, oh my goodness, grandmother, she said, oh, I better help my grandson because he was starting to feel sad and lonely. He says, oh, what am I going to do? I feel so weak. So grandmother used her strong mind and sent it out to the forest land. And she called the birds of many kinds to come and land on her strong arms. And they sang for the grandson's loneliness and sorrow. They carried the loneliness and sorrow away. Grandson, he was kind of tired of growing straight up. He was very, very tall, old growth cedar tree. So he started growing this way, beginning with his trunk, his stomach, and growing this way. And that's what we call old growth trees. Time passed on again. Grandmother now, she was getting tired. Oh, my grandson's probably so tired of me. I need to leave this world. He's probably tired of listening to me. I'm the only one he can talk to. Grandson listened to grandma and he said, Sila, grandma, remember when the deer came to bother me? And you moved your arms back and forth. And you can move your arms back and forth, scare them away. And the deer will go away. I'm strong now. I can do that. So he did. And grandma, didn't you use your beautiful strength when I was sad and lonely? And put your arms around me, protect me from the strong north wind. I got strong arms. I'll put them around you and protect you from the strong north wind. Grandmother, you helped me when I was sad and lonely some more. Grandmother, and remember you called the birds of many kinds? And you called them and they came. Grandmother, I learned your songs. I can sing those songs. I will call the birds and they will come and land on my strong arms and sing for you and carry your sorrow and loneliness away. Grandmother, you took care of me. Now I will take care of you. That is all.
Well, I love that story because when you're raised on kindness and compassion and you're nurtured by love and all these beautiful things, you understand the delicious value of giving that love back. And and it's just so sweet. So how was, I mean, not to sound like I don't get it, but that story is about taking care of each other, but it healed you.
Yes.
So is the medicine in that story just us being there for each other and trying to make each other feel better and learning from each other? There's a lot to unpack.
In our culture, we call life, that's the medicine. Our whole life is the medicine. And it is, that's why you don't hear a lot of elder people try to explain. They explain some what they can, but life is medicine. Whether it's good, bad, or as Clint Eastwood say, good, bad, and ugly. But ours is more complex than that.
Better be.
Just accepting our life. I think that's the most. Our elders did a wonderful job in teaching us it's okay to be yourself. That's individuality. That's living your life.
But colonization wants to homogenize us. All
Yeah.
women do this. All men do this. People only do, you know what I mean? There's just this colonization is homogenization, and you, sir, there's nothing like you.
Yeah.
Nothing out there.
I believe in what the elders told us. Practice individuality and don't let nobody take that away from you. And it is the greatest gift. That's a wonderful thing our elders always used to remind us. We're all like always say that we're a dying race and everything. I think we're actually a living race.
Bingo.
Yeah, a living race. We're practicing it today and showing other people how to practice their individuality.
Well, part of individuality, and we're gonna go there, Johnny, and part of like being yourself is vulnerable, right? Because you're kind of raw and you're exposed and you're being who you are. But part of who we are sometimes is sensual beings. So I love that you accept that part of human nature as culture too, right?
Yeah.
Like people make out, people touch each other. It happens. It has happened. So I want to, now that people know you're beautiful, we got a woman named Estelle that said it's a beautiful story and thank you. So now that we've established your beauty and your depth and your healing medicine, I want to talk about adult bedtime stories. Johnny,
Okay.
what is on that CD and how nasty you getting? Because I want to know so bad. Because I know, and maybe Sister Melly can confirm. I don't think you're a prude in any way.
I won't comment on that one.
Well,
did you say prude?
Prude.
Oh, I thought you said prune.
No,
maybe a pickle.
Not yet. In a few years, I'll make fun of your prunes and your pickle. So my king of double entendres, what is this? I really want to work with Kathy. Everybody that knows you knows you. You have books, you have DVDs, you have CDs, you've spoken all over the planet, but you're not on the Spotify's, the iTunes and stuff. We really need to get you.
Mhm.
You're on Spotify.
Kathy has that info.
Okay.
He's
So
on Spotify.
hi Kathy.
Hi.
So we can find Johnny Moses on the internet now.
Yeah, he's on Spotify. He has a CD that was put into the Smithsonian.
Ooh.
It's the 4 Seasons CD, and they play the songs. You can download the songs on Spotify, and just look up Johnny Moses. I think it's 4 Seasons. I don't know exactly how it's listed, but if you look up his name, it should have all the different songs from the 4 Seasons. And then he's also got a website, johnnymoses.com. And from there, you can learn more about Johnny. And also, you can sign up if you want to have events and hire him to do storytelling or all kinds of things. then you can sign up there. And he has lots of artwork and CDs and DVDs. You can download some of them. If you don't have CD players, you can order them. And so that's pretty much what he's
So
got.
he's more modern than I thought, which is great.
Yeah.
Because I thought, like, I only know, you guys don't know, he's not on the internet. I'm so hip,
Yeah,
so
he's
eclectic. But that's great.
Yeah.
She does the complicated stuff, the
Well,
computer
sort of.
stuff.
I try to pretend I'm doing it.
Well, see, Kathy, that's why I don't say manager. I feel like you're his handler. Like it goes beyond just emails and a schedule. I know this. We know
I'm his
this.
loving sister that keeps going.
I don't know if I'd be this nice to my brother if he was this eclectic.
Well, you see how much fun he is.
Well, I take shots for it.
That's good. It'll stop itching in a few weeks. So Johnny, I love Kathy. I so appreciate her so much.
Yes,
and she's never blocked any access to you. Like I feel very grateful that every time I ask for something, you guys are just so willing to do it. But I swear, if we don't get into the knit and grit, I want you blushing and embarrassed. I want to hear these adult stories. I've heard you talk about farts. I've heard you tell stories about burning skunk bottoms. I've heard many things, but I want to know the adult side.
Okay, all right. Should I tell? There's a brief story it's not on but it will give you a sense of.
You're turning red. Like this is. I'm glad there's a little bit video evidence because
I do follow the red road.
But the red road leads to your bedroom.
But it starts pink at first.
I can't with this guy. So yes, I love that Johnny Moses is about to embarrass himself. This makes me so happy.
Well, anyway, this story is actually a true. But the anthropologists couldn't translate this. Well, the native people who were telling the stories, they were laughing so hard they couldn't translate the story. So it was until the 1940s they had were trying to translate it, and then again the people were laughing so much when they heard it from that because it was a recording from back in the 1920s, and so it finally got translated in the 1970s. And it's a story about the race. It's a Yakima and Spokane story, Eastern Washington. And it's a race between the penis and the vagina.
I'm so happy right now.
And then, so if you're listening to this story, just say, ah, me, which means,
me.
Oh my. Ulem slu utput kolsanan ulant ana shalla. Long ago, there lived the shalla, the penis, and there he always was bragging about himself. That's why he's always bent over. And there, the vagina, she says, there she's squeezing herself, talking, I'm strong. I squeeze everything. I'm stronger than you, Mr. Penis.
Neat.
And so they got into argument. And Coyote says, okay, we got to get this taken care of. Because, Coyote was always the one causing problem.
Neat.
And so they decided, Coyote said, we'll have a race. Okay, we'll start in the beginning line for the race. And whoever wins this race, that will be the winner.
Neat.
What in skunk? Opened his butthole, big fart. That was the shotgun. Air. The penis starts running this way. And then the vagina, she start running. And there they start their penises, and the vagina goes, and they were running, and finally penis got to the finishing line.
Neat.
And vagina, she kept on running. There, she got to the finishing line, just squeezed all out. And there, the old people say, that's why the vagina won the finish, the race between the penis and the vagina. It's because she had a Volvo.
Neat. Lord. But Johnny, sex and sexuality is part of culture and people, and it was colonization that made it gross and dirty and shameful.
Yes, and it can be funny. It's healing, and
So
I guess it's secret society is supposed to be hidden or something.
but I don't like that. So that one is not. And you mentioned the skunk, Johnny. How we are adults here. We are grown people.
Yeah.
Okay. And the skunk's fart was the starting gun.
Yes. Yeah.
So your 12-year-old is showing.
Yeah.
And so it is part of, but it's who we are as adults. And there's nothing wrong with who we are, and being yourself. Part of being yourself is being sensual.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
So I'm not ashamed of you and your behavior, and I'm not ashamed of me or my behavior.
Oh, good. Neither am I.
Well, remember years ago during COVID, I dubbed the slutomish. You're no longer. And when I said that, I was worried, oh my gosh, I'm going to offend my favorite person. I'm going to offend him. He's going to hate me. And then you said you wanted a t-shirt made.
There was, we have one of my cousins back in the Northwest Coast. We've got a lot of different tribes there down, you always hear about the Navajo, the Arapaho, and then I have a lot of our people make jokes about the New York ho or Chicago ho or whatever. and then I got a cousin. She's from Tahola, and the Ho. We got a tribe actually called the Ho tribe, H-O-H, and she always tells people that she's a half a ho.
My great great grandma was a ho princess.
I always like the hoedowns.
Oh Lord, Johnny. So you mentioned the skunk. So I feel like I want you to put your little racing penis away for a minute.
Okay.
And I want you to get into stoic spiritual Johnny mode and tell us the story about the sacred skunk, Johnny.
Okay. I always the skunk doesn't always pray for the four directions. It's the four farts that go. That's another story.
Or is it when you do this, you just kind of fart when you
In those directions.
yes.
Okay. Well, this is very. It is a very. We lost a dear elder, and that was one of her nicknames. It's a skunk, but it was more endearment. I'd tell the story, and she would just, a lot of people, you shouldn't tell that story. That's an elder, and her name, it's her nickname, Skunk, Skabia. But she loved it. She'd ask me. She's the one that would tell me, tell that story. Talked about the old Indian doctors. So if you're listening, you may say Hamokawich. Can you say Hamokawich?
Homokowicz.
This means we are listening.
Kinda.
Kind of, yeah, pretty much. We were listening, kind of. Hamokawich. And long ago, out to half to we eat Kabiak.
Homokowicz.
Long ago, there lived skunk. He was called Skabia.
Homokowicz.
Utolibuch, he was very powerful. He thought, I am so powerful. I got so much medicine. And there, Okalabak, he'd tell everybody, oh, I got an important message, but you have to seal your houses. Make them airtight, airproof. Put pitch in the cracks and holes in your house. I don't want nobody to hear my message. Only the ones inside the house.
Homokowicz.
All about it. So he convinced everybody. He would use his kobotlach, another kind of fume when he'd fart a little bit. It would hypnotize these people.
Homokowicz.
So they didn't know what they were doing, So when you're hypnotized, it's just like when people start to get drunk, they're like, but they just do it anyway.
Homokowicz.
That's what were happening to the people, the puke farms, or fart fumes. There, he says, okay, everybody ready? We'd get them all, and our people lived in long houses in the Northwest. They had out of cedar, yet red and yellow cedar trees. There, the house would be airtight. And then he'd order them, you got to seal the doorway with pitch.
Homokowicz.
And so he says, all right, everybody ready for my message? And all the people would say, hey, we're ready. And so Skunk would turn around slowly and raise his tail straight up in the air and face his butthole in front of the people. And the fart power would say, it means spread your butt cheeks. And there, the fart would fill the room.
Homokowicz.
All the people died.
Homokowicz.
As time went on, he started going from house to house and getting rid of a lot of people.
Homokowicz.
He got carried away and became a psychosomatic fart killer. So as he ran out of people to kill with his fart power, he heard, there are a lot of people that live over the mountains in the dry country, inland.
Homokowicz.
So he went over there, and the people there live in mound houses. Entrance is on the top of the house.
Homokowicz.
The two old grannies. Mo grannies, they were medicine women. And they said, "Oh, we can't wait till that Mr. Kalashevka comes."
Oh my gosh.
Cool as they were laughing. They were getting ready. They fixed their house. They made it airtight because they were doctor women. They already knew what they were supposed to do.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Skunk arrived and he said, "Oh, Chulab Tuktikach, I'm here. I'm Skabia. I'm here to share my very important message."
Oh my gosh.
The two more grannies says, "Okay, just climb down the ladder. Come on in, Skunk." He climbed down the ladder. Skabia climbed. As he climbed down, on both sides, the Mo grannies were heating some nice hot rocks.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, tubuchtish. And there they grabbed him on the side and they pulled him down and sat him on the hot rocks and cauterized you know what.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Hutaboy teaches. They say his butthole shrank. Hututubuk tatachalachas. And the mole grannies just laughed. He says, "We fixed that skunk."
Oh my gosh.
And the old people say that's why the skunk can't kill nobody anymore. Because in our culture, you just don't go around killing people when you want to. But you have to have a reservation.
On me.
That is all.
Well, I like that story because A, it's juvenile, but B, like it reminds me of some of them new agey false prophets in a way. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to just go around trusting somebody because they say I have an important sacred message. And then they shit all over your life and don't leave. We've all known a few of those.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny. So many. Now, when you were on Indigenous Peoples Day at KVMR a week and a half ago,
Yes.
we touched just barely on it. So I would like, because we don't have time limits or commercials, tell me about, we mentioned Vi Hilbert.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I would like you to talk about where these stories come from and kind of, were you her mentor? Were you a student? Just kind of talk about how you became the monster before us today.
Well, my beloved Auntie Vi Hilbert, her native name was Blue, and she was from the known as Upper Skagit tribe, which is way up in the mountain, the rivers, the river and mountain people. And she saved our language and taught the language. She was one of the first Native American women professors at the University of Washington.
Wow.
And she wanted to keep our language alive. And she was very impressed. There was a posted, we call white man, the posteds, which means Boston people from the East Coast. She was impressed that he could speak our language by reading and writing it. And at that time, the language was not complete. So she helped with creating all the other sounds, the alphabetical sounds that are in our language that are not in English to pronounce. And so she was very instrumental in keeping the stories alive. So she went and she was raised with the language, with the old people, and so the elders trusted her, a lot of the elders. And so it made it a lot easier. And she would travel with some of the anthropologists, and they would help. But she was such an encouraging person about you. The stories come from the land, from the earth, Mother Earth. It's the stories, our ancient stories, all of them come from the water, the fire, the air. All the elements were all made of the elements, the earth. So we are as a native people, we are the living earth, earth children, Mother Earth's children. And so it is our duty to learn how to communicate. So storytelling helps all ages to communicate, from the baby to the adult or elder.
Well, she has a story because I get little bits. I don't have everything, but one of my favorites that she tells is "Wish We Listened," and then you told me you have to listen to stories at least 4 times to get it. So between the limited, like maybe 10 stories I have of her and all the stories I've sat with you, you have to pay. And you mentioned forever ago that you don't have really stories for kids.
No, it's all, it's a bit the feeling of whoever's telling the story because sometimes there's some children that are like adults or elders in a child's body. And so some elders will actually tell the story to that child as if they were already a grandma or a grandpa. So I always thought that was interesting because our language, the dialect changes as you talk to your children. And so we would sit around and we would listen. So then again, we would learn even more. Oh, they're talking to that person as an adult. How come they always talk to me like I'm a child?
Because you are.
I found out later.
Because you still are.
And then when they would talk to me as an adult, then it's, oh, I'm in trouble.
Jonathan Anthony.
But it's just the tonal inflection, and she wanted people to learn that our language is not just words, feelings. The sounds in our language really describe the feelings of people. It's very complex, and it's thousands and thousands of years old. Our language. They say that's what's wrong with even the English language now. It's not 1,000 years old, and it won't sound like the same language. Maybe 500 more years from now.
But you hit on that, like, there's humanness is complex. Being human is complex. Love is complex. Grief is complex. Raising a child is complex. So it makes sense to me that, yes, over time, the more we learn about ourselves and who we are, and you need more words to explain the weird things, like you're crying and laughing, or crying while you're having adult interactions, or but the story thing, like with the kids, I guess what I just found interesting is that you tell stories to children, but you dumb it down, or you leave stuff out, or you do whatever you can to make it as simple as possible. But like what you explained to me, like it just, a lot of stuff goes over their heads because they're kids. But then as you listen as a preteen or a teenager, you get more and more of the same story. So it's like, to me, it seems super respectful. Like you honor your kids enough.
Yes.
To give them the truth, right? To give them the whole story and let them catch up and grow up.
Yes, according to their own level of understanding.
Yes.
It's a level of, we grow. It's when we appreciate the level of allowing people to change.
Yes.
allow people to change.
Now, I'm looking at Vi's list because I love her and I just think she's great. So, one of her stories. So, do you? Okay. So, I've been struggling with this, and I think I told you before. I interviewed a storyteller who knew stories, but then she also was telling new stories she wrote.
Yes.
Is that something you do, or are all of your stories passed down, or do you just go, I'm going to write a story?
All the stories I tell are passed down, and then I have also Native people. A lot of people do not realize in our oral traditional storytellers, they write oral traditional stories in their mind
Ooh.
and not on paper. Or they dream, like dreaming is another way of writing it down. And so some of our elders would say, "Oh, you must have wrote that story down in your dream because it came to life. You brought it to life in our waking world." And I used to think that was such a wonderful way of thinking of writing a story down in our, some people would say, imagination, fantasy. But in our language, the part of imagining is growing. In our native language, we call imagining to grow, and fantasizing is to be brave enough to go to places that we would not go, but we're going to take a chance. And I think our native language has a wonderful way of expressing that in the oral tradition. But unfortunately, I have never written them down because I'm just so addicted to the mind, the spiritual mind, and I enjoy it. It's a lot cheaper too.
Well, you said spiritual mind. Now, I don't know if Lucille is watching, but I love our friend Lucille. And
Yes.
I seen you two traveling around for Native American or a Shaker church. Can you please explain that to this heathen? Because when you say church, right, people automatically assume.
Oh yes.
But you guys, yeah. So please
Yeah.
explain to us in the correct terminology.
Mhm.
Because what you've shown me and even the stories you told, I'm surprised anybody's allowing you into church.
Well, it's all the children that say you got to let Johnny in the church. You see, I got the children behind me.
So basically, you're just a glorified babysitter. I understand.
Yes. That's when the adults accept me,
Right?
Which is kind of a lot of truth to that. I raised a lot of kids that. But the Shaker Church, well, a lot of in the Northwest Coast, we have a religion, or what the white man calls our religion, the Indian Shaker Church, and it's a mixture of the medicine ways and Christianity. But the Indian Shakers, they remained with the oral tradition by everything again through the spirit. The Indian Shakers don't read the Bible. Well, not now. We do have Bible Shakers, Indian Bible Shakers that read the Bible. But in the beginning, they believed. Why should we need to talk to God through a book? We can talk to God or to the Lord directly. So the Indian people believed they could just talk to Jesus directly. They didn't need a mediator. So that's the difference with the Indian Shakers in the native religion, where the old people believed. And of course, we have the educated Shakers who use the Bible. We have nothing against the Bible, but we also believe that that the healing spirit, the power of love, always tells us the truth. When people are healed, who have joined the Shaker Church, it's all through love. Or a lot of them, their lives almost ended. Like, as you know, we have such a high suicide rate among our people. And so the Shakers were known in our area to save a lot of lives who people became suicidal. They just gave up. You know. So, and again, in our Indian Shaker, it's singing and dancing. The worship, whole worship is all, it's and then our native singing, praying. When we call it Stephen, that means silent singing, but it turns into a beautiful voice. And eventually, sooner or later, that beautiful silent song will turn into something beautiful.
But I believe that I do think there's a vibration that comes out in songs.
Yes.
I like going to temple because there's more
Yeah.
singing of
Mhm.
prayers and less preaching.
And
Right.
it's very ancient.
Yes, and you
It's
sink
like,
into that.
it is like the Mother Earth is singing directly to you.
So, and then when you talk about your language being healing, those vibrations, those sounds tap into something that I don't even think we realize.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
more science learns about things, the more our indigeneity makes
Mhm.
sense and has a place in health and healing.
Mhm. I find also, I mean, this is my feeling of languages. A lot of people have not been able to fully interpret our even, they can interpret basic part of our native language, whether it's Choctaw or Salish or Lakota, whatever, but they only cover a cover up, the introduction, and the language is so ancient. It's a language that came from the earth, a language that the earth spoke, and the animals and the plants and everything, wherever we are from, that was the life around us. We learned that language from all the animals, the plants and flowers and trees, the water itself, everything are in the air. You go to different parts of the country, for example, like the northeast, northwest, southwest, there's a different feeling. And we consider a feeling, oh, that's the language, the beginning of language.
Well, and these things preceded us, these
Yeah.
plants, these animals, right? So
Mhm.
they already learned the language
Yes.
or the
Mhm.
feeling. And so by the time we showed up, they gave
Yeah.
us that.
Mhm. And
Expressions.
our different elders would kind of tease us kids, like, oh, you're smiling like a daisy. You look like a daisy. Well, they never said that to me.
I was going to say, I'm wondering what animal they compared you to. Look, it's a possum.
It wasn't muskrat love, that's for sure.
Oh, Johnny Moses.
But yeah, they would always like tease us and we'd laugh. And again, laughing with learning how to laugh at things that sometimes people get afraid. We use their feelings for how they are affected by fear and love or whatever. And I think the wonderful thing, our native people, they used laughter and the cry, even if it was sharing things with us, it was always so beautiful that we knew, oh, it is very ancient it's hard to describe the beauty of our language.
But I feel something like I'm, again, not going to hide in your bushes, but I am like a junkie addicted to you. I need my fix. If I go without whatever it is you do to me, giggity, I get a little sad.
Oh.
Sometimes I have to play your stories on air just to feel that connection to you. So, like, your vibration, I dig it. You are like, you just, again, there's so much carried in it. Even you got ripped away from your family.
Mhm.
You had cancer,
Mhm.
but you're not bitter. You're not angry. You're not, the world owes me. Like, so many experiences that you had would have broken somebody into just a sad, depressed, just life.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
somehow you know what I mean? It's like when you throw shit on plants,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
makes them grow better, right?
They
So
got enough fertilizer. Yeah.
yeah, you were just born with a heap of fertilizer on you. Now there's this like big, beautiful orchid or whatever. I love it. You can still smell the fertilizer, but you don't mind. You're so pretty.
My grandparents used to always say to me that, you have to realize that you can live through anything. That the power of your any kind of illnesses or things or troubles, you have to remember that you are stronger than that, and so use those lessons or think of those lessons that you had a hard time with to be stronger. You are better than that. Like one example is Auntie Vi used to tell us, Vi Hilbert. She says when someone would try to argue with her, and our culture is a matrilineal society, a lot of bossy women.
Yes.
And what she would say to them, and they would try to argue with her, I'm sorry, my mind's not small enough to argue with you at this time.
I'm gonna use that.
And she would leave them and they would be just in wonder. They would be insulted. They wouldn't know they were insulted until they got home.
Yeah, I'm gonna borrow that one.
It's an intellectual way of
Of
insult
saying go to hell.
in the medicine way.
Yes. Cool. So even like you can be tradish and
Yes.
still be snarky and catty.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yes.
beautiful.
That's coyote. A lot of people don't realize that's what the coyote spirit represents. Coyote and raven. There's a whole bunch of all the different animals.
But we're supposed to be the stoic native that was lost and didn't know how to live until the church got here and told us how wrong we were and how to make us right.
Yeah.
They saved us. But that's why I treasure you, because you're not colonized at all. Like, you really are. I feel as close as we can get to the raw indigenous spirit, is you. It's just but you're all these beautiful things. You do help people, Johnny. You deeply care about people. And when somebody is sick or needs your medicine or love, Johnny, you are there for them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you also want to sit around, make fart jokes and high five, you are there for that too, which I think is who we are as people.
Yes.
Colonization wants us to be the wise and stoic,
Mm-hmm.
that we never laugh and we're just serious. When laughter is so human
Mm-hmm.
and so ingrained in our DNA that I prefer it. I like laughing Laughing is my favorite drug.
Mhm. It was our survival skills. Yes.
Yes, we had
Our
to laugh
we we laughed at the most, horrible things that happen to our people. We make jokes about them.
because you have to stop crying at some point. You have
Yeah.
to shift the perspective, or that pain is going to swallow you whole.
Mhm.
Like you mentioned, these suicide rates, if we don't get to a point of making fun of something or
Yeah,
ourselves, we will slip into the abyss.
that's true.
And I
Mhm.
refuse, Johnny. I
Yes.
refuse. Now, we're hitting like darn near like an hour 40 with you. I know you have a life, quote unquote. I'm pretty sure you may have a lover tied up somewhere that you need to get back to.
Well, there's one that's loose that I gotta
Oh,
find.
so you need the net. Just borrow Kathy's taser, and I think you guys will be fine by dinner. But Johnny, you said that these stories and stuff just come to you, like you don't have a playlist or a set list. So is there any
Mhm.
story that you want to send us out on? Spiritual or slutty or an animal or something to do with the testicle? Is there anything? I'm leaving this last moment to you, because whatever you give me, I like it. I'm like fa
Oh.
la la fa la la la, Johnny. I want rumpa pum pum. I want more.
Okay. Oh, I never plan, but I just always the spirits always tell me first, me first. That's I like to share this story. It's a really loving story, and I'll share it in the Samish language that's spoken in the San Juan Islands in the state of Washington. It's Samish tribe, and they say Inewel. Can you say Inewel?
In Noel?
Inewel, and that means we're listening. Ni shuchti ni Whis.stem.men.knee.
In Noel.
Long ago, there lived a 5-year-old little girl. Ni Whillistit, as she grew older, as in her time, at 5 years old, she would have the same reoccurring dream. And in this dream, ni filit nutum skut Christan.
In Noel?
In the dream, there were all these grandmas and grandpas standing in front of her. And they turned and they faced her. And they says, "Oh, you're so beautiful." One of the grandmothers would approach her and start brushing her hair. And when our people say when some elder brushes your hair, it goes like this, they're cleaning your soul.
In Noel.
Oh, she felt good. Her soul felt so clean. Then the elder says, "We must leave you now," and turned away. And the little girl, she said, "Please don't leave me."
In Noel.
But they journeyed. Well, as time went on, she had the same reoccurring dream.
In Noel.
Well, this 5-year-old girl now became a mother. She had one son and one daughter
In Noel.
and many grandchildren. She became a Selah grandma.
In Noel.
She'd still have the same reoccurring dream.
In Noel.
Nicolatan, in the dream, there she had told her one daughter and one son, "I'm tired of living in this world now. I must leave."
In Noel.
And her children said, "Oh, mother, don't talk that way."
In Noel.
There in the dream, the one daughter and one son found themselves in the same dream as their mother.
In Noel.
Finality noetis. There they see the 5-year-old girl standing in front of all these grandmas and grandpas.
Now, well,
They did not recognize it was their own mother because she was only 5 years old.
Noel.
But when she spoke, they say the soul of the voice, everybody recognizes each other's soul. They knew that's her mom.
Noel.
The elders turned and faced the 5-year-old girl.
Noel.
And these elderly people, there the grandmother approached the 5-year-old girl and she grabbed her hand.
Noel.
All the elders began to peel their bodies off. The human looked like human bodies. And in those bodies, there's lights, many kinds of lights.
Noel.
And the grandmother told the 5-year-old girl, "We must leave you now. We must journey to the other place." And the 5-year-old girl began to cry. And she says, "Please don't leave me." As the grandmother walked with her, there they began to turn in a full circle and they faced the girl and they grabbed her and they traveled to the other world.
Noel.
When the one daughter and the one son awakened from their dream, they looked at each other and they knew their mother traveled to a safe place.
Noel.
And that is all.
Johnny, you got me with that one. You got me in the feelers. You made me have emotions.
Well, this does have the same way with me. My grandma and grandpa, when they tell me stories every night, one of the things they always said to me before we go to sleep, "I tell you these stories because I love you."
Hey. I listen to these stories because I love you. But I feel okay. So I'm gonna plug you because if I keep thinking about how much I love you, I'm gonna cry. You do, what do you do? Like, people just hire you and you go tell stories. I've never paid you for anything, so I don't know like what you do for money. I just beg you and you show up. So let's say I'm an organization. I like Johnny Moses. You just johnnymoses.com and
Yep. Kathy she's the
your McManager.
She's the one that knows.
Yes.
So Miss Kathy, let's say I'm a school and I want to. I feel like he only works during Native American Heritage Month, but
Well, they just get a lot of jobs during this month, but
he only works November. So how do people access him for gigs? And then let's do the website where we can buy stuff again.
Okay, so they can go on his website, which is johnnymoses.com. And there's a section there for all different things. There's a history about Johnny. There's also his artwork, his CDs that are for sale. And then there's a place if you want to plan an event,
Ooh.
that you send an email and it comes to me. And then I call you and I help set it up and tell you how much he charges and what dates and all of that stuff.
That's awesome. Well, I am going to try to Red Cedar Circle come to y'all, your neck of the woods. Do a Red Cedar Circle, and if I have to pay for it, I will. Like, my dogs don't need any more sweaters.
Well, the actual prayer circles that we do, those are free.
Those are free, yeah.
that
What?
actual Red Cedar Circle prayer circles.
But I just felt like the medicine is real. Like the stuff
Yes.
that Johnny oozes is
Yeah.
real. It's not, I can't explain it.
No,
It's not,
I-
just, it's not just, oh, I tell stories or, oh, here's a song. Like
Yeah.
his aura is moist.
I'm from the Northwest Moist.
Yeah,
Right.
he's from the Northwest.
You feel the voluptuousness of his culture coming through.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think, Kathy, I appreciate you all the time and we can interview you and just we can just sing you prayer songs and send you love,
Survived it all.
love and healing. Because I do a few hours every here and there with him, and I'm affected. So I can't imagine the day to day with this one over here.
Well,
But you can't get mad because he carries all this spiritual medicine and historical culture and stuff, right? So you can't just yell at him because then you're yelling at all the ancestors ever.
there's never anything to get mad about, actually.
We're so tired from laughing that
Yeah.
we can't do anything else.
But
That sounds like
if people are interested in the prayer circles, I can
Yes.
give you my email, and then they can email me and let me know, and I can tell them about the ones here in California.
Mm.
He does a lot of prayer circles up in the Northwest Coast, in the Seattle area, Canada, all over
but
the
something
place.
really special happens there, though. Something really special happens there, and it's weird. It's like this. We get this weird energy dome. It feels like there's just some kind of like you're in a basket. There's just something about those red cedar circles that completely cuts you off from the concepts of time and space. So you know what I mean? Like it's something special. And Johnny, I'm so glad that I got to hear you say penis and vagina like
Yeah.
and I didn't have to press the stop button or do the views and
Shella is the penis. And then we have vagina is the tud. We're different names for vagina.
Well, I'm sure there's different names for different types of vaginas too, if you really want to go there.
Teed is the tight vagina.
See,
and
I knew it.
Tud is loose vagina.
The Eskimos have 100 words for snow. The Snohomish Tulalip have 1,700 documented words for vagina. Thank you for contributing to.
That's why we were a secret society.
Yeah.
Just this.
The machine.
Johnny, I love you so much, and thank you for doing this today. And I'm just so thrilled to dump you on our whole new realm of listeners. So,
Thank
when
you.
it first said, that was a comment to a comment. So glad I could tune in for a bit. The stories and conversations got me in the feels. My heart feels full. Yakoki, and that was from Abigail. Well, thank you, Abigail. Do you agree, John A? Do you have the feels right now?
I feelings.
Nothing more than feelings, Johnny. Well, JohnnyMoses.com. Thank you to Kathy Sundown. Johnny Moses, my body will be next to yours shortly because I get the weird. I'm going to lose my mind if I don't hug you. Like it happens often. Like it just, you deeply affect me. I think that you and I might have been like we were either lovers way back in way past lives, or we owned a brothel in a recent past life. You feel that though?
And we're still laughing about it.
Yeah, I feel like I give madam energy. You know? I feel like I take care of my girls. All right. Well, you two have a glorious day. Thank you so much, Kathy. You give him a big ol' inappropriate smooch from me.
Oh yeah, Lena's gonna let me.
Johnny, put your rape whistle down. All right. I love you guys so much. I will see you soon. And Johnny, go back to your cage. I'm glad she let you out for this one.
Love you.
All right.
Love you too,
All right.
Jennifer.
I know it. All right, baby. Bye. Well, that was this Red Hoop Talk. And I know that you had to hear me and Shannon ramble for a minute, but wasn't it worth the wait? Like Johnny is so amazing that, you know what I mean? He can be 15 minutes late to the party and we're still waiting on pins and needles. So, this will be up on yo streaming platforms, johnnymoses.com. I'm Jennifer Robin. I just want to appreciate y'all for hopping in the hoop with me today. And I can't find my outro. I don't want to leave. I can't find my outro. All right. Well, chihilale. I love you so hard. Thanks for watching.